Okay, so the purpose of this video is to go through the some of the review problems from the midterm review packets. Okay, so this one, it says college food court survey students to gather information about the types of drinks they like. Here are the results. So first it says that there are 686 students that were surveyed in all. So I'm gonna Okay, so I just like writing things down. So even though it's not listed on there, just something about writing it down invents it to my brain. So, so 686, that's all. Okay. 283 students drink tea. Okay, so actually, let's see. This is all tea. 283. 39 students drink both tea and coffee. So 39 of the students drink both tea and coffee. So here's tea. So again, here's our diagram. This is all students surveyed in all. We have drink tea, drink milk, and drink coffee. So it tells us that 39 of the students drink both tea and coffee, but don't drink milk. Okay, so that means this area here, all right, so this little spot right here, that's the 39. Okay, so we don't have to calculate that. It already tells us. Okay, and then, so I'll put a check mark there. 128 of the students drink both tea and milk, but don't drink coffee. Okay, so tea and milk, so that's 128. Okay, so check mark there. 81 of the students drink coffee, but drink neither tea nor milk. Okay, 81 of the students drink coffee, but drink neither tea or milk. There's, okay. All right, so 81 goes right here. Okay, because there's my tea is all of this, and my milk is all of this. So what's left over is the 81 here. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's check that off. Okay, next one says 52 of the students drink tea. Okay, so 52 of the students drink tea, but drink neither milk nor coffee. Okay, so again, here's milk, here's coffee. So we don't want any of those. So this little spot right here is the 52. Okay, so let's put 52 here. Okay, all right. And then 121 of the students drink milk, but drink neither tea nor coffee. So again, here's my tea, here's my coffee. Okay, so we just want this spot right here. Okay, so I'm going to put the 121 there. All right, so maybe I can. Okay, so let's check that off. And it tells us that 609 of students drink at least one of these three types: tea, milk, and coffee. Okay, all right. So, but we have two missing blanks here. All right, and then we have the one outside. So we need to figure out those three. Okay, so I can't figure. So again, next question is where do we go from here? So again, I can't figure this one out until I figure out what this one is. Okay, So I need this spot first in order to figure out this one here. Okay. So let's go back to it tells us that what? 283 of the students drink tea. So that means that all of this here is 283. Okay. So 283 drink tea. Well, we already have, there's four sections here, and we already have three of the four sections. So we just need to what?
Add,
Subtract those three from
right.
that, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So
64.
six, exactly, we 64, right? So 283. So I'm going to subtract this one, and this one. Okay. So we got 283 minus 52 minus 128 minus 39. Okay. And that gives us 64. So this spot right here is 64. Okay. So now I've completed this circle here. I'm done with that. Okay. So let's check this off. So now let's go back to this. So it says 609 students drink at least one of these three types. Okay. So when you add up all of this here, this, and this here, okay, that all adds up to 609. Okay. So what can we do? Well, we can just take that 609 and subtract them from all of these numbers, or we can add up all these numbers and then subtract it from 609. Okay. Either way. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 609, and then I'm just going to subtract minus 52, minus 128, minus 121, minus 39, minus 64, and then minus 81. Okay. So when I do that, I get 124. Okay. So that goes there. So the next stop or the next part is we need to figure out, okay, what's going to be in the, in the universal set because, or outside of the circles, because again, we have 686 surveyed in all, and we only have 609 accounted for. So what we need to do is we just take the 686 minus the 609 that they tell us. And when we subtract that, we get 77. So here we get 77. Okay, so now we've filled out our Venn diagram. Now we can answer the questions. How many of the students drink milk? Well, we just want to add up all these right here. Okay, so that will be the 128, 121, 64, and 124. And when we do that, we get 437. Okay, so let's look at this next problem. This one says here's a Venn diagram showing the set C and D as well as the universal set U. Okay, so first let's make sure we understand the notation here. All right, so remember this little symbol here means the empty set. Okay, that means you choose there's none of them. Okay. All right. So and then this little symbol here, right? That means intersection. So that means what do they have in common, right? What do they have in common? What do they have in common? All right. So what do they both share that they both, traits that they both share? Okay. All right. Oh, you like baseball. I like baseball too. Oh, you like to go shopping. I like to go shopping too. Okay. So what do they both have in common? They both have in common. All right. And then this symbol here means union. Okay. That means I'm going to take whatever you have, I'm going to combine it with mine. Okay. So like I mentioned about part member families, two families, when they get married, they might have previous children from another marriage. When they get married again, it's, they're just combining everybody together. This person had 3 kids, I have 4 kids, so we have 7 kids total. Okay. So you're just um, combining everything together, combine all. Okay. And then this little symbol here, right? This little symbol here, okay, looks like an apostrophe. That's prime. Okay. Sometimes it's called complement. So prime means outside. That means outside. Okay. Okay. You like black. I don't like black. I like purple. I don't know. So it's whatever you don't, it's always the opposite of whatever that person wants. Okay. It's like I have 2 daughters, you know. Let's watch this movie. I don't want to watch that movie. I don't like that movie. I want to watch this movie. So they're always fighting each other, right? Because they're sisters. I don't know. You can never agree on one thing. Okay. So it's always the opposite, what they want. Okay. So that's how I think of it. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. So here, what does it want? It wants C intersection D. So again, let's think about what that symbol means, right? This symbol here. What does this mean? It means what? We're going to combine them together. I'm sorry. That means whatever they both what? Have both in common, right?
Right.
So if I look at C and D, all right, do they have anything in common? No, right? They don't have anything in common. That's why they're 2 separate circles because they don't have anything in common. If they had something in common, then they would be overlapping each other. And maybe they had R in common or something like that. Okay. So that would be an intersection. But again, in this case, they don't have anything in common. So I would say none, right? So, so what do they have in common? So in this case, we would just put, so here the answer would be the empty set, okay? Because they don't have anything in common. Okay, C prime, right? Prime says, I don't want anything to do anything with you. Okay, so whatever you have, I don't want. So here's my C, right? So here's my C. Here's my C here. Okay. I only like H and R. That's the only thing I like. Everything outside of that, I don't want it. Okay. These are my closest friends. I don't want to meet new friends. I don't want anything else. I just want H and R. Okay. So that means uh, I would shade all of this on the outside. Okay.
Okay.
That will be everything on the outside. Okay. So that means then what's going to be C prime?
H comma R.
Remember, it's the C prime is the people I don't want.
Oh, so F comma Q comma G, or F G Q,
Exactly. And
the PX.
exactly. Because those are outside the circle.
Gotcha.
Okay. Those are the people I don't want. Okay. Oh, those are the things I don't want. I shouldn't say people. Okay. So again, here's my HR. Okay. And then I want everything on the outside. So these guys out here. That's C prime. Okay. Okay. So let's write that down. So in this case, we would have, and they did write in roster form. So let's go ahead and do that. So that would be those brackets there, F, um, G, again, doesn't have to be in order, Q, P, and X. Okay. All right. And then the last one here is, remember, when we're dealing with these things, we want to do them in order. right? So we need to do PEMDAS, okay? So we focus on what's in the parentheses first. That's what the P stands for. And then we focus on the exponents. That's what the E stands for. So, so we're going to focus on the parentheses. So it means we need to focus inside first, right? Because that's the parentheses. We need to address that. So again, what does U mean? That union symbol means I
Fine.
want to combine them in all. So I want to combine which circles?
C and D.
C and D. So that means then,
H, comma R,
uh-huh,
and P,
and
comma Q, or X.
perfect, right? So CUD, C union D means H, R, P, and X, right? That's C union D. Okay. Well, so I addressed the parentheses. I'm done with that. Okay. So now I'm going to address the exponent, which is this prime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what does that mean? Anything outside of it. I don't want anything to do with what? H, R, P, and Q. Right? I don't want anything to do with that. Okay.
So it would be the F, comma G, comma Q.
Exactly. Right.
So then your
So
answer
that
would be A.
the answer, yeah, so the answer would just be this, right? What you listed there.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So, so in this case, again, that prime, that means I don't want anything to do with these guys. I don't want anything to do with those guys. Okay. So the prime is this one, FGQ. That's what it's saying. So that's going to be your answer. F, G, and Q. Okay. So this next question is asking us, each Venn diagram has sets A, B, and a universal set U. We want to shade A prime intersection B and shade A union B prime prime. Okay. And we need to figure out, are these sets the same? Are they equal? Okay, so again, remember, we need to use PEMDAS when we're dealing with Venn diagrams. Bigger. All right, so again, we're going to focus on the parentheses. If we don't have that, then we focus on the exponent. Okay, in this case, the prime. All right, so the first thing here is they want us to find A prime, right? That's what we need to address first, the prime. Okay, why? Because that's the order. That's the order of operations. If we don't have any parentheses, then we go to the exponent, which is represented by prime. Okay, so A prime, all right. So here's A. Use a different color here. Okay, so here's A. All right. And it says prime, A prime. So am I going to shade in the circle or outside the circle? Okay, so if it just said A, then I would just shade inside A. But since it says prime, it says I don't want inside A, I want outside of A. So let's shade outside of A. Okay. So okay. Okay, so that's outside of A. All right, so now we've addressed that part. So we have addressed this part here. So checked. So now it says we want to do intersecting with B. Okay. So we just want what's overlapping with B. So B is this one here, right? This is all of B right here. Okay. But notice that there is a section in there that's not shaded. Okay? We don't want that because we just want the ones that's overlapping with B. So that means oops, that means this area here. Okay? This area right here. Because it says we don't want this part. We just want the one that's overlapping with B. Okay? So use a different color here. All right, so I just want this part right here. Okay. So that's gonna be B. Okay. So this is gonna be um, A prime intersection B. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's look at the next one. All right, so now let's look at part B here. Let's use a different color. Okay. All right, so we have A union B prime and then prime. So again, what do we do first? We need to focus on the P, the parentheses. So we need to focus inside the parentheses. Okay? We need to focus inside the parentheses. Okay, so in here. Now inside the parentheses, there's another thing we need to focus on. And that's the B prime, right? Because that's what trumps everybody. So we got to focus on B prime first. So here's B. Okay. There's my B. Right? And it says B prime. So B prime means I want everything on the outside. That's B prime. Okay? That's B prime. So I addressed that. So let's put a check mark there. So now we want what? Union A. Okay? So union A. So here's A. All right? That's A. So there's most of it is shaded, but there's still a section right here that's not shaded. It's like an eyeball. Okay? There's a section right there that's not shaded. So that means union means we want to combine it with all. Okay? So that means we need to shade that part that's not shaded because we want all of A, not just part of A, all of A. Okay? So that means we need to go back here and shade what's not, what's left over. Okay? So that's what union A is saying. So check mark there. Okay. So now we address what's inside the parentheses. So now we need to address this little prime here on the outside. Okay. Remember that means I don't want anything that's outside of whatever we have. So in Venn diagram, that means, okay, so you have all the blue that's shaded, right? And there's a part here that's not shaded, and that is this section right here. Okay? And that's what they're asking. The prime, which is not shaded, this part. That's what they want. Okay? So we want that one there. All right, so we want this piece right here. And we want to shade that piece. Okay? All right. So now we finish shading this part. So now we can go to the question and it says, are the sets A prime intersection B and A union B prime prime equal? And the answer is yes, right? They're equal. They have the same shaded area. Okay, so this one says the Venn diagram shows sets A, B, C, and the universal set U. We want to shade B intersection C prime union A. Okay, so again, the first thing we need to address is the order of operations or the order we're going to solve this. All right, so again, we're going to focus on PEMDAS. Okay, so we want to focus on the P, which is the parentheses. So we're going to focus on this area first. Okay, C prime union A. That is the first thing, first step. Within that, we need to focus on the prime, right? So again, we're focusing inside here. Then we need to focus on the prime. Why? Because that's the next order. That's the next step. It wants us to do the exponent. So we go to C, right? So C, here's my C. Okay, here's C. Prime means, okay, if it just said regular C, then I would shade everything in C. C prime means I want outside of C. I don't want any of C. Okay, all right. So C prime means I need to shade everything outside of C. That's what it's at. That's what it's saying. All right, and just do your best. Sometimes they say coloring is supposed to be a de-stressor, but for me, it stresses me out. All right. All right. So C prime, that I addressed that. So we're done. Check. So now we want, it says union A. Union A. Okay. So again, here's my A. Here's my A. Okay. What is it saying? I want everything of A. I want all of this. I want all of that. So there's a portion in here that's not shaded, which is this piece right here. So it means I need to shade that part. Okay. Second, let me pause this. All right, so we want to shade the rest of A. Okay. So boom, we have addressed that. So we're done. We're done here. This part is done. We completed that process. Okay. So now we need to do this part. It says intersection with B. Okay. It says intersection with B. All right. So remember, this is B right here. All right. What does it say? We only want the part that's intersecting with B. We only want the part, okay, that's intersecting with B. Okay, so in this case, so notice that this part here is the only part that's not intersecting with B. Okay, we don't want that. We only want the part that's intersecting with B. So that will be this part here. Because that's the part that's already shaded. Okay, this is the part that we want. Okay. Right, so we want this part right here. Part there. Right? And then there's our answer. All right, here's our next question. It says, here's a table showing all 52 cards in a standard deck. Okay, and we want to find the probability of these different scenarios. Okay, so each one of each one of these, right, it's going to be out of 52, unless it's a conditional probability, which means that if there is a condition, then it changes the denominator. But in this case, there's no conditional probability. So that means for each and every one of these, it should be out of 52.
Okay.
52, and 52. Okay. So if it was a condition saying, okay, we only want what's out of the hearts. Okay. So that means now the condition has changed. The denominator has changed to just 13.
Okay.
Okay. Then out of those parts, I just want, say, the odd numbers. Okay, so that's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Does that make sense? So that's if it was a conditional, but we don't have we don't have that type of problem here. So that means for all this, it's going to be out of 52. So that's half the battle, right? So now we just got to figure out what do I put on the top. So it says, what's the probability that the card drawn is a spade? Well, here's my spades, okay? And we know that for each of the suits, there are 13 of them, right? Okay, you got the 10 numbers, and then you have the face cards, Jack, Queen, King, Jack, Queen, and King. So that's 13 total, okay? So we just want, what's the probability of a card that's drawn that's a spade? Well, there's 13 of these guys, right? So that means it's going to be 13 out of 52. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. It says, what's the probability that the card drawn is a face card?
16, 36, or 12.
Yeah. So because there's what? 4, 8, 12. There's 12 face cards.
Okay.
Okay. So there's 12 face cards. So again, this is 13 out of 52. So there's 12 face cards. So that's going to be 12 out of 52. I don't even bother reducing it right now. Okay. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out what the answer is. Okay. All right. The next one is probably the one that throws students off. What's the probability that the card drawn is a spade or a face card? It's a spade or a face card.
22. No.
Yes, right? So let's look at this. Let's go through the process. So it's spades, right? That's all of these guys here.
Right.
And that's 13, right? And then or face cards. So that means it's all of these guys here. Those are the face cards. And there's what? 12 of them. Okay. So if we add them, 13 plus 12, that's going to give us 25. However, what's happening?
You're duplicating the spades of the Jack, Queen, and King.
Exactly. So this part right here is being counted twice. So we need to subtract 3 of them because we counted them twice. So that gives us the 22.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that will be 22 out of 52.